You know that feeling, right? That prickly, super uncomfortable sense that you're in a crowd of strangers, and somehow you're the main event, and probably not in a good way. Well, today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and what's really going on in our heads.
I mean, you walk into a room and it just feels like every conversation stops. Every single head turns. It's an intense feeling, isn't it? Like a sudden, very unwelcome spotlight just found you out of nowhere.
Or, oh man, this classic. You stumble on a perfectly flat piece of pavement. For that split second, the world just freezes, your face gets hot, and you're just praying the ground will swallow you whole. But did everyone really see? Or did they even care?
Okay, so let's get into it. This feeling isn't just you being paranoid or weird. Nope. It's a deeply human, totally universal anxiety about what other people think. And it's almost always triggered by the smallest, most insignificant little moments.
Think about it. Spilling coffee on a white shirt, walking into a silent library, or just realizing your hair has decided to defy gravity today. In our heads, these tiny slip-ups feel like these catastrophic public failures. Our brain just automatically cranks up the volume, assuming everyone is not only watching, but is, taking notes and passing judgment.
So why? Why does this happen? Well, it's more than just general social anxiety. There's a really specific psychological thing happening here, a fascinating mental trick that our brains play on us, and it even has a name.
While that feeling of being watched is absolutely real, you feel it. The reality of the situation is often, completely different. And this huge gap is caused by a cognitive bias that really shapes how we see ourselves in social situations.
And here it is. It's called the spotlight effect. It's basically our brain's tendency to wildly overestimate how much other people notice our appearance or our actions. You see, because we're the absolute star of our own movie, it's only natural to assume we're at least a supporting character in everyone else's.
The psychologist Thomas Gilovich, who's a key researcher on this whole topic, he put it perfectly. He said, "We are the center of our own universe. It's only natural to assume we're the center of everyone else's, but we're not. We're just so tuned into our own inner world that we can't really believe other people aren't just as focused on us."
Yeah, basically, we really struggle to get out of our own heads. We know we're embarrassed about the coffee stain, so we just assume our embarrassment is broadcasting to everyone around us like some giant flashing neon sign. But the truth is, our inner world is way more private than we think.
But hey, this isn't just a cool theory. When you actually look at the data, at what people really notice, the gap between our feelings and what's actually happening becomes crystal clear.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If that spotlight isn't real, then just how dim is it? Turns out, the answer is pretty liberating.
Okay, think about that coffee stain again. In your mind, it's a giant, shameful beacon of your clumsiness. But to a stranger, their brain most likely just registers person with coffee and immediately moves on. Because they're the center of their own universe, worrying about their own day, their own messy hair, their own to-do list.
And researchers have tested this over and over. They get people to predict how many others will notice something embarrassing about them, and then they measure how many actually do. And every single time, the result is this massive gap. We consistently think that spotlight is way brighter than it really is.
Here's a concrete number for you. In one famous experiment, they had students wear a kind of cheesy t-shirt, you know the type, into a room full of people. The students wearing it predicted that over half the people in the room would notice and remember the shirt. The reality? Fewer than a quarter of them even registered it.
So knowing all this is one thing, right? But how do we actually use it to our advantage? How can we actively turn down the volume on that feeling of being constantly judged? All right, here's a simple 3-step toolkit. First, just acknowledge it. When you feel that heat rising, just name it in your head. That's the spotlight effect again. Second, remember the data. Just remind yourself that probably fewer than a quarter of the people here even noticed. And third, shift your focus. Instead of looking inward and analyzing yourself, look out. Observe the world around you. You'll realize pretty quickly that everyone else is just as wrapped up in their own lives as you are. So ultimately, the freedom we're all looking for doesn't come from being perfect in public. It comes from this quiet, powerful realization that to most strangers, you're just not that important. And honestly, that is a wonderfully liberating thing.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. If you truly, deeply knew that that spotlight was off, what would you do differently? What would you wear? Where would you go? What new things might you try? The possibilities are pretty exciting to consider.